Asics MetaSpeed Sky and the Adidas Adios Pro. Each of these shoes has been a part of breaking world records. But now it's time to see what happens when a non-elite athlete puts each of these shoes on for a time trial and lets them battle head to head. A 10K time trial in the MetaSpeed Sky for today, coming in at 40 minutes and 15 seconds. Unofficially, that is going to be a PR for me by quite a bit of time, running at an average pace of 6 minutes and 28 seconds per mile and 170 beats per minute. And 2 weeks ago, I took the Adidas Adios Pro out for a time trial as well for an 8K and coming in at about the same pace, 32 minutes and 5 seconds per mile on that run. And with that, I have two time trial results where I can compare these two super shoes head to head. But before I give you my thoughts on these two shoes, I do want to go over some disclosures. The Asics MetaSpeed Sky was a pair of shoes that was sent to me by Running Warehouse and Asics for the purpose of review. And the Adidas Adios Pro was a pair of shoes that I purchased myself. However, in neither event, no one is paying me to make this video or to include either of these two shoes in a video, and no one's gonna get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So that being said, let's talk about the Asics MetaSpeed Sky and the Adidas Adios Pro. First, let's take a look at the numbers of the Asics MetaSpeed Sky. This is the shoe that was recently worn by Beth Potter to break the women's 5K world record, or at least to run a world record breaking time. I'm not sure at the moment if that's going to be officially recognized as a world record attempt, but it was a blazing fast time. The stack height on this shoe is 38 millimeters of FF turbo midsole foam in the heel, coming down to 33 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot for a 5 millimeter drop. In addition to that amazing new FF turbo midsole foam that Asics has just released, also getting a full length carbon fiber plate. We have a super lightweight but ultra strong upper on this shoe to keep you locked in place on this racing shoe. And the total weight coming in at 7.3 ounces for my US men's size 9. The Adidas Adios Pro, we've got 40 millimeters of stack height in the heel, but a much more aggressive drop at 8.5 millimeters, giving us 31.5 millimeters midsole material. In addition, there's a half carbon fiber plate in the heel of the shoe and carbon fiber rods that line up with your metatarsals in the forefoot of this shoe. The upper has Adidas Cellular Mesh, which is a fantastic racing material, very thin, very strong, fits very well. And this total package comes in at a weight of 8.0 ounces. What is it like to run in each of these shoes? As I mentioned earlier, these two shoes are each super shoes, and each of these shoes right now are two of my favorite racing shoes. The Asics MetaSpeed Sky is a super lightweight, very snappy shoe. It feels extremely fast underfoot. The FF Turbo is not a squishy foam at all, but it is very soft when it comes to absorbing impact from the road at your race speeds, but it also rebounds extremely quickly. There is definitely a bounciness, an airiness to this foam that is gonna let you absorb the impact of all your road miles, also keep you moving at a very fast pace. Running the 10K time trial for today, I felt like I was just in control the entire time. I didn't feel like I had to redline in order to get to my race pace, which in turn I feel helped me maintain a level of effort that gave me something left right at the end so I could push really hard towards the finish. So a fantastic feeling. Now, I'd like to think that part of that feeling is me getting better at racing and time trialing, something that I don't normally do a lot of, but I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. And running in the Asics MetaSpeed Sky was an absolutely exhilarating experience underfoot today. I just felt like it was there with me and let me fly along the lakefront trail in Chicago. In terms of of comparing these two shoes and the fit of the uppers, I will say that the Asics MetaSpeed Sky has a much better lockdown in the heel. There's just that little bit of padding along the parts that are going to touch up by your ankle bone, but for the most part, it just sits you right in the heel cup and it locks it in. Even just taking the shoes off takes quite a bit of effort because the shoe just wants to stay right on your foot. But the shape of this toe box is pretty aggressive and coming to a point, and so I feel like there's just not enough room right here on my pinky toes. And so today, where I'm filming this video, the day after that time trial, both of my pinky toes are feeling a little bit tender. Now, let's move over to the Adios Pro. The Adios Pro's Lightstrike Pro midsole foam, in comparison to FF Turbo, is a little bit denser, it's a little bit heavier, and I feel like the rebound timing is just a little bit different. If you try to think of it as like the stiffness of suspension in a car, I feel like when you're hitting the ground in the Lightstrike Pro, it's taking a little bit longer of a time for it to compress, and then also the decompression, I feel like, is a little bit less snappy. But I also think that combined with the carbon fiber plate in this shoe, I feel like it's a good thing. I feel like I enjoy the rebound timing of the Lightstrike Pro and carbon in this shoe at these speeds better than I like the rebound timing of the FF Turbo and carbon fiber plate in the MetaSpeed Sky. But with the Lightstrike Pro, I'm still getting that sense that it's there to assist and help me with my stride, help power through that gait cycle even deeper into a time trial. So for those of you who don't really like a very aggressive carbon, the Adidas Adios Pro might not be for you, but I'm feeling the aggressiveness of the carbon. I'm feeling that carbon pop, and I'm also feeling that Lightstrike foam and the way it rebounds and kind of creates almost a potential energy and then releases it like as kinetic energy as you're going through that gait cycle and as you're toeing off to your next stride. I just feel like I feel it a little bit more underfoot when I'm trying to get up on my toes and move quicker. And the other kind of counterintuitive thing here is, even though this has 31.5 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot and the MetaSpeed Sky has a millimeter and a half more, has 33 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot, from a run experience, I feel like there's more kind of cushion underfoot in the forefoot of the Adios Pro for me at these speeds than I felt in the Asics MetaSpeed Sky. Also, the fit of this cellar mesh upper, I feel like, is absolutely fantastic. There's a little bit more room. It doesn't curve into a point quite as aggressively as the Asics MetaSpeed Sky does. So I feel like there's still sometimes a little bit of discomfort right at the toes, even in the Adios Pro, but it's a little bit less of an issue with this shoe in terms of the way that the toe box is shaped. The heel cup still fits really well here, and I do like the way that the heel is designed here on the Adios Pro. It's nice and soft, almost like a felt material on the inside. Feels very good on the heel as well. Great lockdown, but just not quite as secure as the MetaSpeed Sky. So for those of you who are having issues in some of your other running and racing shoes, especially in terms of heel slippage, which seems to be a thing that's becoming more of an issue. For those of you who are really looking for that heel lockdown, I think the Asics MetaSpeed Sky is going to be the slightly better option for you, although both are really great here. So with that being said, talking about these two shoes in time trial formats against each other, with me ending up running about the same pace in each of the two shoes, just a couple of weeks apart, I think I'm overall at this speed for the 5K to 10K distance. I think the crown's gonna go today to the Adidas Adios Pro. I just like having that extra carbon bounce to it. I like the feeling that the Lightstrike Pro, when you're pushing into it and then pushing off, it's giving you back so much more of that bounce feeling rather than a very quick rebound bounce that I'm getting in the MetaSpeed Sky. Now, that's going to be a lot coming down to people's preference. So people might want that faster rebound, that like ultra bounce in the FF Turbo midsole foam. So that's something that this battle definitely can go either way, and it's really going to come down to a lot of preference on this one. The other thing that I'll mention is that I still haven't spent a lot of time in the MetaSpeed Sky at marathon pace. I have spent a lot of miles at marathon pace in the Adios Pro, not yet in this shoe. So this is a battle that I think that I'm going to have to repeat later on for a much longer run at marathon paces, where I suspect that the preference that I felt between these two shoes at the 5K pace and 10K pace might switch. That's kind of my hunch at this point, but that's some testing that I'll have to do to find out for sure. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see that video when that video ends up hitting. I'm done with doing an 8K time trial. Did a virtual race for the Shamrock Shuffle in Chicago, and I just did a 10K time trial. So now I'm ready to get back into higher mileage, do some half marathon training, some marathon training. I'm really looking forward to getting some different paces, some different experiences in these two shoes, and that's gonna be coming up really soon. So those are my thoughts on the Asics MetaSpeed Sky versus the Adidas Adios Pro, two of the best super shoes on the market today. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'd love to hear it if you disagree with what I've put down in this video today. Or better yet, stop by the live stream that I do on YouTube just about every day, 3 p.m. Central Time. I'd love to talk to you guys about it there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?